This podcast contains topics and language that people may find offensive or triggering and may not be appropriate for younger listeners. We are not medical professionals and any advice should be taken on face value. Please consult your doctor if you have any issues, and please let it be known that all sexual activity should be context appropriate, consent appropriate, age appropriate and species appropriate. Anything else is fair game. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hello.
For ages.
It's been a while. I reckon it's been about 2.5 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas has happened. Things have been happening.
Yeah, we just had a bit of a break.
Yeah.
Not for any reason. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, good.
Last time we spoke, we were sat here.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I was editing the last podcast quite recently. It's like, oh, it's lovely and sunny outside.
Oh, God,
And
it's
just
freezing
been
now.
Fucking miserable ever since.
Yeah, it's cold.
Cool.
What we're talking about today, you won't tell me, so I'm very intrigued. So, yes. Fill me in, Dan.
So, well, I called an emergency podcast.
Yeah.
About just before Christmas, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then we actually couldn't do it because I thought it would have been really, really funny just to be like, I have chlamydia. Hey.
Oh, that's horrible. That's not fun.
Well,
that's not fun.
actually, I don't think it is horrible.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's different for a guy because guys don't get any symptoms. The girls get the symptoms, don't they?
Not true.
Okay, all right. Fill me in.
So guys can also get symptoms.
Mhm.
Discharge, pain,
Yeah.
other various different things.
And did you have any of these?
I didn't have any of those.
Right, okay.
So for those who, well, I'm guessing if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably come here because you've got chlamydia or suspect that you might have it. And what you should do. No, it's not awful.
No. It's not. Well, it's. I
supposed
think
to be
physically having it. I think dealing with it is awful. You know,
Right.
the
and
process of having to tell people that you've slept with.
Well, this is why I wanted to talk about it quite openly, because I don't
okay.
think it should be like that,
No, it shouldn't be, but it's.
and it's not hard to deal with at all.
No,
It's a very very simple thing.
Yeah.
So chlamydia is just a bacterial infection.
Mhm.
Can happen. It's the most common sexually transmitted disease.
Mhm.
I don't know quite how common it is. I haven't had it for 20 odd years. And actually, when I found out about it, I was secretly a bit kind of intrigued to show people the process of what you should
Look
do.
at what my penis looks like. Oh no!
Oh, look at all the discharge.
We can't do that on here, unfortunately.
No,
No.
not YouTube friendly, is it?
No. I'm kind of happy about that though.
So I'll tell you the story of how I found out.
Okay, all right,
So
cool.
basically, I slept with a particular individual that I'd never slept with before.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks later, I slept with the same individual, but with somebody else.
Okay.
And then the very next day, well, actually that night, she left and actually said, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable.
Okay.
Messaged me in
What?
the morning.
Emotionally uncomfortable?
No, physically
Physically
uncomfortable.
Right, okay.
And then messaged me the next day, apologised, said, I think I've just got a UTI.
Right,
So
okay.
I was just feeling a bit yuck.
Yeah.
And don't worry about it. See you soon. Whatever.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 days later, I got a message from the same person saying, by the way, I went to a walk-in clinic and they did a STD test and I have chlamydia.
Right. Okay.
At which point, my mind goes, oh Christ, how
Well, who have you slept with? Who are you going to have to tell?
Well,
you know?
my initial so and this is where I want to sort of destigmatize everything, because
Okay.
my mind immediately goes, well, I got it from her.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, the sort of gestation period is anywhere from like a week to 3 weeks before you actually start showing symptoms.
Yeah, okay.
So you might not know anyway.
Yeah.
And as a male, I'm less likely to show symptoms.
Yeah, yeah.
So I could have had it for a long time.
Yeah, okay.
And I only sleep with a few people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sleep around randomly.
And can I ask, after every person you sleep with, because you don't know who they're sleeping with as well, do you have STI checks if you're going to be doing unprotected sex?
Totally depends who it is.
Yeah, right, okay.
So most of the people I sleep with don't sleep with anybody else.
Yeah, okay.
And tell me if they do.
Yeah, yeah.
So
if they do, then it's, right, STI check, which is free. You can get it online.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. So,
okay.
I immediately messaged the other girl that was involved and said, by the way, it's almost certain that we've both got it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I spent, I don't know, an hour looking for links and that kind of stuff. I sent her, the website where she can enter the details and get the test and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I then also messaged the other person that I'd slept with within the last couple of months and said, by the way, you probably want to get yourself checked too.
Yeah, just to be safe. Yeah.
Yeah. So at which point everyone's mentally pointing fingers.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether they actually said anything out loud. But
yeah. Is it feeling like you're getting the finger pointed at as well?
Yeah.
By all the girls? Yeah.
Yeah. So but no one's saying anything.
Right, okay.
No one's
it's just a
really
vibe you're
saying anything.
getting
It's kind
with
of
the messaging and
there's a sort of you've done this to me sort of thing.
Right, okay, yeah.
And so as it turned out, the other girl that was involved had an STD test after the last person she'd slept with.
Right, okay.
Which was negative.
Yeah, yeah.
The other girl.
So that rules her out as.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah,
so
okay.
this is where we sort of need to get a bit careful because
right, okay.
It is unlikely, but theoretically possible that if part of your urethra touches a moist patch, or where someone else has, where there is chlamydia present in a moisture droplet,
toilet,
you can get it from that.
Yeah.
So it is possible to have come from nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
As in, a pub toilet that someone's pissed on and you've sat in, which is probably more likely to be me at that point because fucking like the amount of times I have to go into a toilet and fucking clean it in a pub to actually then go and actually use it.
Nice.
But actually, women urinate on the seats all the times and that kind of stuff. So it is possible to have come from there. The girl I'd slept with a month previous came out negative anyway.
Yeah.
And the originating the girl who had got it and gone to the walk-in clinic,
right,
kind of assured me that it hadn't come from her.
Right, okay.
At this point, you're kind of going, well, you could have had it for a long time. Like anyone could have had it for a long time. Then you get symptoms, and then you and the actual finger pointing element of it becomes a bit pointless.
And it shouldn't even be that. It's like, okay, how do we all get sorted out as quickly as possible and safely?
Yes,
basically that's the main goal here, right? And not actually blaming anybody.
Yeah.
It gets a bit ugly, doesn't it?
Don't really want to get into the thing of if it was a previous partner, were they cheating?
Yeah,
and that kind of stuff. It's like, well, you could go down a complete rabbit hole to
try
and
absolutely
find it out, and actually it's a bit kind of pointless, and you don't really know anyway.
Yeah, you just want to make sure the people who have got it, they all know. Basically, that's the most important thing, right? And then,
yeah. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So, by which time the other girl involved was having symptoms as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So she kind of knew that she had it.
Yeah.
so I guess for the people who are watching, to get tested is totally free in the UK. I don't know where it is in other areas of the world. We happen to live in Dorset, so there's a Dorset Health 24 website where you can actually just type in your postcode, tell them why you want to be having the test anyway, and then they just send you a kit. I think it arrived within 48 hours. I did the test, which I videoed, so we'll add this in now. Hello everybody, welcome back to The Pleasure Perspective. Today I'm going to be doing an STD test because I've had sex with some people and I might have it. So, ordered my kit. I live in Dorset, so I think there's a Dorset sexual health place. Wherever you live might be completely different, but what they give you in this particular test kit is, I think they test for chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis and HIV. So you do a urine test and a blood test. So I'm going to do both of those. So I'm going to start off with the blood test. Now I have enormous problems getting blood out myself. I do blood tests at least once a year just to get my sort of hormone panel and make sure I'm okay that way. See where I'm at with that. So I know for a fact that the things that they provide you with, they provide you with these little pinprick things. Now they absolutely don't work for me. If I can even show you, I'll get the blood vial. Where is it? I don't want to drop any of this stuff. I've just cleaned all the surfaces, especially for this. It's the urine one. Blood test one. Here it is. So, the thing with this is they want you to fill it all the way up to the 600 mark. So you've got to get quite a significant amount of blood in there. Now I've washed my hands, I've warmed them up, and just to demonstrate, I'm going to do they say to take one of these fingers, and what you do is you put it in the side, and what it does is it creates a pinprick. And as you can see, there's literally nothing coming out of there. This is very, very common for me. So I've just injured myself for your entertainment purposes. And actually, even if I hold my hand down, like you can see, I'm starting to get a bit of red there. But as you can see, like it would take for absolutely forever to actually get anything out of that at all. So I'm not going to bother. I'm going to put my file on a clean surface. I don't know if it's quite in shot, but that's fine. It's just on a surface. That's actually on my sink. I'm going to do this in my bathroom because I can be stood up and therefore I can have my hands below me. And also, I don't want blood all over my house. So what I'm actually going to do is, and you probably won't find this, so I have Raynaud's syndrome. So basically there's something, like the blood circulation in the ends of my fingers is just pretty much non-existent. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a series of little small holes actually between my knuckles. I'm going to use this hand because actually, depending on when these videos come out, you might have seen me put in my blood test for this year, in which case I used this hand. So as you can see, it's a little bit bruised and stuff at the moment. So I'm going to use a small needle. These are sterile. And these are actually piercing needles for and actually I'm going to make a series of small holes. I'm not going to touch the end that is sharp. And what I'm going to do is make a series of small holes at the top of my knuckle, because that makes it easier for me to drip down into the vial as well. It's also the middle of winter, which means my hands are even colder than normal, and all I'm going to do is drip that down. I'm extremely bad at this. I really wish there was a better method. So people who make these kits for people who have very low blood pressure and or sort of conditions which means they don't bleed very much, maybe come up with a better method. So I might speed the video up, or I might just point out just how annoying this is by letting you watch the entire thing. So the reason I'm doing this is because I stayed with someone recently outside of my regular sort of circle of people who then started having symptoms of, she thought it was a UTI, came back and she said it's chlamydia. So I'm obviously not sleeping with anybody at the moment whilst I get tested and wait for the results. I've presented no symptoms at all. However, that's also fairly common. But it was more than, it was 3 weeks ago, I think we slept together initially. So I would have expected to have seen symptoms by now, in terms of sort of like burning, urination and that kind of stuff. Right, now I'm already up at the 600 mark. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the cap on. Right, and because both of my samples go into the same bag, I'm now going to do my urine test. So I have a logic. So basically my sample has to fill that up. They pre-print all the labels, so you don't have to put your name or anything like that on it for this particular test. There are obviously every single kit manufacturer might be different. I'm guessing they're pretty much the same all over the country. So I'm going to open that and put it on my surface again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wee into this. And I'm going to do this next to my toilet so I can finish off urinating. And how does that work? Okay, let's read the instructions on that because that's very bizarre. So you've got a pipette so that you can actually take it out of this and put it into your vial. Obviously this kit's for a penis because I have one of those. Probably the instructions, what they want is the first bit of wee, because I assume that's the bit that will be the most sort of particles of, I guess, infected cells. All that kind of stuff. Right, so you then take your sample, take your pipette, and looks like it's probably only going to be about 2 pipettes worth. Right, and that is exactly between the 2 lines. I might even put just a tiny bit more in, just in case they want some for later. And then 24, and then you send it off by priority post.
Which they have it all like it's like free as well, so you don't need to get a stamp or anything.
Yeah, there's no stamp.
It's so simple, which is great.
The whole thing's completely free of charge.
Yeah.
You then get a text message 4 days later, saying your results are online. Here's a link, and you go in. You log onto the account that you made when you ordered the test, and it's all discreet as well. All the packaging. It's not like, here's your chlamydia test. Like
big sign on
sexual
it.
deviant. So then, and so it's a urine test for, I think, both males and females.
Yep.
Sometimes they do a swab test, I believe.
Yep.
So
done blood tests as well before.
So when I got mine, when I ordered my kit, they also do a blood test where you can test for, do a urine test and a blood test. I can't remember which is which, but they also test for HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So, so I just did all of them because why not?
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you're doing it, might as well just
Yeah, the blood test for me is a bit of a hassle, but you'll see that in the you'll have just seen that.
Okay.
Because trying to get blood out of me is a total nightmare. So those little pinprick things just don't work. So I actually have to physically kind of open myself up to get blood out of me. But
cut open a wound.
Yeah, basically. So you send off the kit. They send you a link. They send you a text message saying your results are on. You go online, and then it just says you're positive. At which point you can kind of click through and say, send me some medication, please. And then they send you medication.
Is the medication free?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Didn't know that.
Yeah, medication's totally free as well. You can buy it online, I believe, if you go onto sort of some medical sites.
Right. Okay.
So I guess there's a so you can either go to a walk-in clinic or you can just order the test through the NHS or local healthcare provider, or you can go private. Yeah. And I think you can order the tests privately as well, but then it's going to cost you money. So,
yeah. Okay.
So then, you get the results back, you click through, and there's 2 different medications which you can take, and nearly always they recommend doxycycline, which is what all of us took. Right. And it is a 7-day course where you take 1 pill in the morning, 1 pill in the evening. Yeah. And then at the end of 7 days, it's gone. Yeah. So, right. And then you can just forget all about it. Pretty much. They recommend that you do another test 2 months later just to double check.
Right. Okay.
Because it's 98% success rate. So I'm going to do one of those probably soon, really. Yeah, but the other medication, I can't remember the name of it, is if you've got certain conditions or allergic to certain things, or
Right, okay.
and it's less successful, but they do pretty much with muchness. As I say, it's just a bacterial infection. Antibiotics kill bacteria, and they kill those specific bacteria.
Yeah.
And so it's all just really easy.
So what's the hard part? Dealing with the actual...
I think the hard part is the mental part. So the I guess when I spoke to the girl who had been negative,
Right.
I think that she got a bit cross
Okay.
because she thought, well, you're just not being careful.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, as I say, yes, I'm having unprotected sex. I don't ejaculate in anyone. I know who these people are. The fact that someone new had come along, I made a stupid joke actually about, she could have slept with 20,000 people. At which point she was just like, well, you should be more careful then. I was like, well, actually, I did have that conversation, and she hasn't slept with 20,000 people.
Yeah. Okay.
So so that became that was that was the only difficult conversation I had.
Okay.
Everyone else was sort of fine.
Yeah. Okay.
But probably still a bit finger pointy
Yeah.
in terms of
Which was mainly towards you.
Yeah.
Is it because you're the guy?
Yeah.
It's literally, I can't think of any other reason.
No.
Yeah. It's the same the other way around as well, though, because I've had friends who've been through this, and female slept with a few guys, unprotected sex, and then she's had to mention it to a few, people.
Yeah.
And then to the guys, and then they've been like, "You're a slut," and it's been that, So it's just kind of spun around the other way for you, basically.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Yeah. Which, again,
it's very playground stuff. Do you know what I mean?
It is, actually.
Rather than actually just going, okay, let's just sort it out.
Yeah,
it just needs sorting out.
We're all grown ups here.
Yeah.
Let's go, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
I think it was but because there are technically sort of some long-term effects if you don't get it treated.
Yeah, okay.
So if you do have it, or you do think you've got it, then do actually just get checked. Because for the sake of taking 2 pills a day for 7 days and not getting wasted every day, then it's pointless to ignore.
Yeah, and I think also, like, if you sleep with anybody, like, a new person, I just think having an STI check after that, if you're going to do unprotected sex, with somebody, just get checked every single time, really, and that just takes that away, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Or
and
protect yourself.
And it's free as well. So
yeah,
I mean, I think. So I've always done the full check. So I've always done the full blood check and the urine test.
Yeah.
I think going forward, I wouldn't necessarily do the whole lot.
Right. Okay.
Mostly because the blood testing bit's a bit of a pain in the arse.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And actually, because I get my blood work done every year anyway. So I check all my sort of serum testosterone levels and all that kind of stuff, and liver enzymes, and I kind of do a general blood work health check anyway.
Yeah.
And I'd done one the week, like a couple of days before.
Yeah.
So I'd sent all that off anyway. So I basically sent 2 lots of blood work off to different people for the same thing effectively. So I guess it depends on your lifestyle and how much you care about other stuff, and how well you're managing the rest of your lifestyle. But yeah, I would probably just do the urine test in future.
Yeah. It's like, if you like to trust people, if you're openly having sex and it's with the same people, and that they're not sleeping with anyone else, you're like, okay, we're in this little nook of like having sex. There's no way other diseases can come in because we've all been tested.
Yeah,
absolutely fine. It's then if you've got a new person coming into that circle that can cause that, basically. But then it's got to be a complete trust thing as well.
Yeah.
Which I'd really struggle with, How do you know? Like, someone might have forgotten to mention it, So you've got to be like completely trusting.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, and communicating that,
And to a certain extent,
so important.
To a certain extent, it's kind of a difficult thing to. It's a difficult thing to bring up.
Yeah, because it's people's private life as well, isn't it? They don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, I guess. I guess it's not difficult for me because I'm used to it. So
how do you mean?
Whenever I'm sleeping with anybody, I will mention the fact that I'm
sexually active.
Yeah. There's other people.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's generally more for me to manage the expectations of what they want from the evening.
Yeah. Okay.
If they're like, oh, let's go home and have sex. I'm like, well, hang on. Are you desperately after a soulmate who's going to be with you forever and father 50 children? Because if you want to do that, then
this ain't going to work.
Maybe you should go in with someone else.
And is anyone ever going to admit that to you on the first date? Like no one's going to tell the truth there. They're like, no, I'm just wanting to have fun.
Yeah.
So that's how it always starts off, isn't it? Like.
Yeah, I don't know. No, actually.
People have to be really honest there, and like, I just don't think people are at first.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm so not trusting. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And even when you start off as like fuck buddies, or friends with benefits, or however way you want to call it, there's after about maybe 2 or 3 months of like just having fun with each other, emotions do start to kick in for one person always, and then they start to grow, the feelings start coming in. It's very hard to keep it just sex and nothing else. I know maybe for you it's absolutely easy, Dan, but for other people not so much.
Yeah. No, I am aware of that, and I do.
And I think the more you see them as well, the more those feelings can come in quicker.
Yes. Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've run into situations before where it's been fine, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
let's go out for dinner.
Yeah.
And let's do boyfriend girlfriend stuff. And you're like, whoa.
Well, weirdly, I'll do that anyway.
Oh, okay. So if I was going to be in an open relationship, sleeping with other people, and it was purely having sex, I would put that boundary in place and going, we're not going to do boyfriend girlfriend stuff. Like that'd be my decision making, because that's when I feel like it starts becoming like that. It starts going into that relationship phase.
Yeah, see, I don't care.
Keeping it
quite
strictly.
Happy to go out and have a nice meal with someone.
Yeah.
Or even sit around watching a film.
Yeah.
And then have sex afterwards.
Yeah.
I quite because I think if I didn't do that, I'd probably crave it more.
Right. What, crave sex more?
No, as in I would. No, I just like it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sort of justify.
Yeah.
No, I'm quite happy. I quite like sitting around and
hanging out,
watching a film, having a bottle of wine. Have loads of sex, and then have some more sex, and then some more sex.
I suppose it's what works for each person. I suppose there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would definitely put boundaries in place, big boundaries, because I'm like, don't want to be dealing with that kind of relationship vibe.
Yeah.
If that's not what I wanted. I just wanted to have a good time,
Yeah. But it's
So how are you guys now?
Totally fine.
Absolutely fine. Everyone's kind of like,
everyone's totally fine. Yeah, there's another situation going on at the moment, which I'll say for a different podcast.
Okay.
Which means that some of those relationships are not quite fine, but
right. Okay. But everyone's amicable again.
But with relation to that, everything was fine.
Yeah.
Happened to be over my medication arrived just the week before Christmas, so it was kind of a bit okay. Well, I can't drink too much. But it's not one of the. I'm not going to make any recommendations because you shouldn't drink alcohol when you're taking antibiotics. So I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
And don't listen to me or anything that I've said ever. Yes, there were a couple of occasions where I had a couple of drinks and I shouldn't have done, and you shouldn't either.
No. Not if you want the medication to work, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So besides there's been a bit of finger pointing at you.
Yeah.
Besides that, it wasn't too much of a horrible experience.
No.
Physically, it wasn't horrible for you.
No.
And you guys are pretty much all right at the end of this.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard so many horrible stories where it's been a bit of a witch hunt, and it's just ended up, and then And then the gossip spreads, and then everyone finds out, and then that person is now considered like dirt, basically, over chlamydia, over like a sexually transmitted disease, which we all can get, and it's just really unlucky when it happens, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just gets taken out of like complete context. So yeah, I've heard really horrible situations. So yours sounds really like pretty chilled, considering.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I guess I did a bunch of research as soon as I found out, because I was like, because I actually wanted to do a podcast on each of these different sexually transmitted diseases or infections. And it just so happened that I got one.
We can talk about your experience with it all.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And it's still not great, though.
From an NHS point of view, they were absolutely immaculate.
Oh, amazing.
Because I was looking for websites and I couldn't quite work out what to do. So I phoned, I looked for the sexual health thing on the
helpline
on the NHS website. It just gave me a phone number. I phoned the phone number. They said, "Oh, go to this URL." I went to that URL. I pressed, 17 buttons.
Yeah.
And then, I've got a test. 48 hours later.
Yeah.
I know. And then the results were back within, I think,
under a week, isn't it? Definitely.
It was definitely under a week. Yeah. I think I sent them in on the Tuesday and got them back on the Friday.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, a medication arrived 2 days later. And then, 7 days after that, it was all gone.
Yeah.
So it can just be, you can just sort it out quickly.
Yeah. I think for guys, because it's like the symptoms aren't as visible, having a STI check every time you have unprotected sex, even though if you're going to be sleeping around with lots of people, you should really be wearing a condom, but that's completely...
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? If you're sleeping around that much, but yeah, it's literally just getting checked out every single time. Why not? It's free. It's quick to do.
Yeah.
And it's minimal impact on any other human being around you, which is just so important.
If you're
self-respect and respecting other humans, isn't it?
And if you're worried about finger pointing, when someone says, "I got it from you," you can say, "Well, actually, my last test was here."
Yeah, exactly.
So, here's the results.
Yeah, exactly.
Therefore, it's you whore.
No. It's just, let's not go down that. No one's a slag. No one's a whore.
No, the whole point of this podcast is remaining safe whilst also having
being respectful. It's so important to be respectful of each other. So yeah, and just minimal damage on each other. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So have fun, but Jesus Christ, just don't spread that shit around.
Well, that's it. And the more conscientious everybody is,
and
the more everybody's getting tested, the less this is going to prevail anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
If everyone got a test every year, and just it just wouldn't exist anymore. The whole chlamydia would just die out until you go to a different country and they haven't got the same kind of attitudes around getting yourself tested and stuff.
Just do it after every time you have sex. Why not? Every new person you have sex with, just get an STI check. Why not?
Yeah.
Because even if you do have protected sex, it can go wrong anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy for a condom to split anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like peace of mind, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess the only reason why I'm not sort of agreeing with you is not that I disagree with you. I think it just depends on how. I think if you were as part of the swinger community,
right? Okay.
And you're having sex with new people every week, are you getting a test every week?
I think you should, though, especially if it's unprotected.
I think you probably should, actually.
If it's new people, I think you've got a responsibility there. I think as an adult to do that.
Yeah, I wonder how that works within the sort of porn industry, where you're actually just getting paid to have sex and you don't.
They get checked though. They do.
This is it. I wonder if they. I wonder if they have just like a regular, like everyone gets checked every week.
Yeah. I think they do. They do. I've got no information on it, but I can imagine that would be the case.
And I wonder,
especially because it's a professional job, isn't it? It's considered professional, so I can imagine the money's there to do it, and they'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine there's sleazy places that we don't.
Yeah.
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 Easy enough to do. But yeah,
Mm.
but yeah, if you've got it, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's just an infection. It's just, you can deal with it. It's pretty easy to deal with. Very common. And make sure you finish your course of antibiotics, because what we don't want is antibiotic resistance coming within the sexual health realm, because if if you get antibiotic resistant chlamydia, then we don't have the antibiotics to fix that.
Right. Okay. Right.
If ever you get any course of antibiotics from your doctor, you should always finish it.
That's good to know. I didn't know
So
that.
do that, kids.
Didn't know that. Yeah.
Adults. Shouldn't be any kids watching.
Absolute adults. Yes. Responsible sexual adults.
Yes. I don't have anything else.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
You know, yeah, good for you for sharing that.
No worries. And I've got some crazy stuff coming up in some future episodes.
Okay.
So subscribe and like the video and comments for the algorithm and all that kind of rubbish, because that means that more people can see stuff.
Awesome. Well, good luck. Hope you don't get chlamydia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.